The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway, and that's when I started to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse?
No, make it more lame. That is exactly what they're doing. And that is why we hate the diversity, equity, and inclusion casting and writing in movies.
One major development going on now involves more to do with Rachel Zegler and her attitude towards South Park Studios and Paramount after learning about what they are planning for their upcoming special called the DEI Special.
South Park has mocked just about everyone for over 25 years. From politicians and pop stars to entire religions and global movements, nothing's off limits for Trey Parker and Matt Stone. But this time they might have gone too far. Because now, they're facing their biggest fight ever, a $100 million lawsuit from none other than Disney's rising star Rachel Zegler. And this isn't just some petty courtroom drama. If she wins, it could shut down satire as we know it. No joke. This case isn't just about one actress getting her feelings hurt. It's about whether comedians can still push boundaries or if the era of edgy humor is over. But here's where things get really wild. Why would Zegler, someone still trying to build her career, risk it all to go up against the most savage show on TV?
Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time.
And what they recently did toward both Zegler and the Disney company for their Snow White film. It turns out that both Trey Parker and Matt Stone are already preparing for the DEI special.
And what's Disney's role in all this? Are they backing her? Or is this a bigger play to control the narrative around their billion-dollar brands? The answers might just shock you and change how you see this whole fight. This isn't just another celebrity meltdown. Rachel Zegler didn't just fire off angry tweets or make a tearful Instagram video. No, she went straight for the jugular. She's officially suing Trey Parker and Matt Stone for $100 million, claiming they destroyed her reputation in a brutal South Park episode that ripped apart her Snow White remake. Let that sink in. $100 million. This is one of the biggest defamation lawsuits the entertainment world has ever seen. And what's more, nobody has ever dared to sue South Park for this kind of cash until now. South Park's known for skating on thin ice. But this time, Rachel's saying they fell through. According to her, the episode didn't just parody her, it sabotaged her. Painted her as an entitled diva, blamed her for Disney's box office flop, and made her the target of millions of angry fans. But here's where it gets even crazier. This lawsuit isn't just about jokes. It's about silencing voices. Voices that don't follow the Hollywood agenda. Because let's be real, if Rachel wins this, it won't stop with South Park. Every comedian, every satirist, everyone who dares to cross the line, they could be next. And in the background, powerful studios, publicists, and lawyers watching closely, because what happens in this courtroom could change everything. So, why now? Why would Rachel Zegler, barely a few years into her career, decide to take on two of the most ruthless satirists in television history? The answer might not be what you think. Let's rewind a bit. When Rachel first stepped into the spotlight, she was supposed to be Disney's new Golden Girl. Cast as Snow White in their live-action remake, she had everything lined up: fame, fortune, and the kind of global recognition most actors only dream about. But almost from the moment her casting was announced, things started to go sideways. First, her comments about the original 1937 Snow White didn't sit well with fans, calling the prince a stalker, saying the story was weird, and that her Snow White wouldn't be waiting for a man to save her. It all sounded like she was trashing the classic that so many people loved.
Even if everything worked perfectly, it would have been almost impossible for this movie to succeed, because you're comparing it to one of the most beloved films of all time and a truly groundbreaking movie.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
Suddenly, the fairy tale turned into a PR nightmare. Fans lashed out, calling her disrespectful, ungrateful, and even accusing her of trying to ruin the legacy of one of Disney's most beloved films. And when South Park jumped on the bandwagon with their DEI special, things went nuclear. But here's the twist. This lawsuit might not just be about clearing her name. According to insiders, Rachel's career was already teetering on the edge. The Snow White backlash hit her hard, and roles started drying up. Casting directors were hesitant. Studios were watching the controversy unfold. Some say this lawsuit is a last-ditch effort to regain control of her image, to prove she won't just roll over and take the hits, that she's not just another celebrity punching bag for late-night comedy shows. Because if she doesn't fight now, she risks becoming Hollywood's latest cautionary tale, the actress who couldn't survive her own fairy tale. But here's where things get even more dangerous, because Rachel didn't just pick a fight with anyone. She went after South Park. And if you know anything about Trey Parker and Matt Stone, you know they don't just fight back, they obliterate. For nearly 3 decades, South Park has made a name by crossing lines, offending everyone, and laughing in the face of controversy. Nothing has been sacred. Not religion, not politics, not pop culture. And this isn't their first time in court either.
Our rights are on the line, folks.
The
Our
right to buy
reproductive
Cosby
rights.
sweaters?
Come on.
That's the face
Go
of a
vote blue.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
No, the people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
Remember when the Church of Scientology went after them? They didn't apologize. They doubled down. When celebrities like Tom Cruise or Kanye West got roasted on their show, South Park didn't back off. They pushed harder. They've faced lawsuits, bans, protests, even death threats. But through it all, they've stood by one rule: no one is safe. And here's the thing most people forget. The last time someone tried to sue South Park, not only did Trey and Matt win, they turned the lawsuit into an episode. That's right, they mocked their accusers on air in front of millions, and fans loved it. So now people are wondering, could they be planning to do it again? Insiders close to South Park say they've already drafted ideas for a meta episode about the lawsuit. But there's one catch. This time, the stakes are higher than ever, because if they lose, it's not just about paying damages, it's about whether South Park can keep existing as we know it. If Rachel wins, it could force the show to tone down its satire, rethink its approach, or worse, open the floodgates for more lawsuits from anyone who's ever felt offended. So, what's South Park's next move? Silence, for now. But history shows, when Trey and Matt go quiet, they're usually planning something explosive. This whole war erupted after South Park dropped one of its most savage episodes ever, something they called the DEI special. For those out of the loop, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion, a hot-button topic in Hollywood right now. And South Park, they didn't just poke fun, they torched it. In this episode, Rachel Zegler's animated version wasn't just a character. She was a symbol of everything the show was railing against. The cartoon Rachel marched through a fake kingdom, holding a smartphone like it was a royal scepter, dishing out social justice sound bites while mocking the entire concept of modernizing fairy tales. There was even a musical number.
As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look. That is our job. This path that I'm taking right now is the path that Rachel Zegler should have taken instead of just running her mouth for the last 3 years.
A full-blown, over-the-top song that made fun of Hollywood's obsession with remakes and how they're more focused on checking boxes than telling good stories. And right in the center, Zegler, painted as the poster child for everything wrong with the new Snow White. Fans, they went insane. Some people loved it, saying it was about time someone took aim at Hollywood's forced wokeness. Others were furious, calling it mean-spirited, outdated, even dangerous. The episode sparked a firestorm online, with debates raging over whether South Park had finally gone too far. And Rachel, she was watching. According to reports, she didn't laugh. She didn't brush it off. She felt targeted, humiliated, and dragged by a show watched by millions. But here's the thing. South Park has done this before, over and over. And most celebrities, they take the hit, maybe complain in an interview, but move on. Not Rachel. This time, she fought back. Now the big question, was South Park just doing what it's always done, or did they finally cross a line into personal destruction? What do you think? Did South Park go too far this time, or is Rachel just being thin-skinned? Drop your take in the comments, because the internet still can't decide. While social media exploded with memes, hashtags, and think pieces, something way more intense was brewing behind the scenes. Inside law offices in Los Angeles, both sides were gearing up for war. Rachel's legal team, they weren't playing around. They filed a scathing complaint, accusing South Park of ruining her career. They said the episode didn't just make fun of her, it sabotaged her chances at landing future roles. Studios backed off, casting directors ghosted, and suddenly, Rachel's rising star wasn't looking so bright. They claimed that the mockery went beyond fair use, that it was malicious, designed to make her a joke in the industry. And they had one goal: make them pay. But wait, here's where things get juicy. Sources close to South Park revealed something wild. While the lawsuit was making headlines, Trey and Matt were secretly brainstorming an episode about the lawsuit itself. That's right, they were already writing jokes about this exact case.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely, when it got announced,
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That laugh.
That is
Not going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Insiders say they've sketched out scenes with animated lawyers, fake courtroom drama, even a mock trial where cartoon versions of themselves face off against a parody of Rachel. But there's a problem. Their real lawyers have hit the brakes. Why? Because any episode aired during the trial could be seen as retaliation, or worse, evidence. If they push too hard, it might backfire. Big time. So for now, South Park is sitting tight, holding back their most explosive content, waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, Rachel's team is digging for dirt. Word is they're looking into South Park's finances, trying to prove that Trey and Matt profited off her humiliation. They're also hunting for industry insiders who might testify that the episode caused real damage. But it's not just about Rachel. There are rumors that Disney is quietly watching every move. They're not officially involved, but let's be real. If this lawsuit forces South Park to reveal behind-the-scenes info about Snow White, Disney's dirty laundry might come spilling out too. This isn't just a legal fight anymore. It's a power struggle between Hollywood's elite, underground comedy kings, and a system that's trying to figure out where the line really is. And right now, that line's about to get shattered. Now, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Rachel Zegler and South Park anymore. This lawsuit is pulling in something bigger. The future of comedy itself. For decades, comedians have lived by one golden rule: nothing is off limits. The idea that you could mock anyone, rich or powerful, famous or infamous, was what kept comedy dangerous and alive. But this lawsuit, it's threatening to change all of that. Because if Rachel wins, it won't just hurt South Park. It could set a legal precedent that lets anyone, any celebrity, any influencer, any brand say, "Hey, that joke hurt my feelings. Now pay me." And suddenly, comedy becomes safe, sanitized, afraid. Think about it. What if every time a comedian made fun of a movie star or a politician or a CEO, they had to worry about a multi-million-dollar lawsuit?
All right, anyway, we'll continue.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
What if shows like South Park, SNL, or even late-night talk shows couldn't touch certain topics without legal teams breathing down their necks? The stakes here are huge, but this isn't just about free speech either. It's about fame and who controls the narrative. Some people are saying Rachel's not trying to defend herself from lies. She's trying to control how she's seen, that she's using the law to shape her image, to shut down anyone who questions her. But others, they see it differently. They say she's standing up to a bully culture where powerful comedians tear down rising stars for a cheap laugh without thinking about the damage they cause. And while the internet battles it out, number Team Rachel versus Dark Team South Park, one player is watching it all go down from the shadows: Disney. Remember, they've got more riding on this than anyone. If South Park wins, it could drag Disney's handling of Snow White into the open. Budget problems, creative conflicts, executive decisions, all of it could come out in court. And if Rachel wins, it sends a message: don't mess with Disney's stars. So while the world argues about free speech, fame, and fairness, Disney's playing the long game, protecting its empire, no matter who gets burned. And now, the stage is set, the courtroom is packed, and the world is watching. As the trial kicks off, it's instant chaos. Reporters swarm the courthouse. Fans camp outside with signs. Social media is on fire, with every clip, every quote, every reaction going viral in real time. Inside, it's like something straight out of a movie. Rachel shows up, flanked by lawyers, dressed to send a message. Serious, determined, ready to fight. She takes the stand, talking about how she felt seeing herself turned into a punchline, how the episode triggered anxiety, lost jobs, and even threats from angry fans. Her lawyers don't hold back. They show clips from the episode pointing out every scene that made her look greedy, arrogant, or ridiculous. They argue that South Park crossed from parody into character assassination, and that Rachel is the one paying the price. But then, South Park fires back. Trey and Matt take the stand, and they're as bold as ever. They talk about how they write their episodes in just 6 days, how they chase absurdity, not accuracy.
I'm sorry that the Snow White movie sucked, guys. I'm not sorry at all that we forced, basically as a company, Daily Wire forced Snow White into production again. It was supposed to come out like a year and a half ago. And then we went after them so hard because of their variety of ridiculous sins that they actually went into full-scale reshoots on Snow White when we announced that we had a competitor.
That no reasonable person would think a cartoon with talking towels and time-traveling kids is real life. They even admit they like controversy because it means people are paying attention. But they swear this wasn't personal. It was just another joke in a long line of jokes. And if they can't make fun of public figures anymore, then what's left? And here's where it gets even crazier. Mid-trial, rumors start flying that South Park might actually drop a new episode, one that mocks the trial, the judge, even the lawyers. Everyone's wondering, will they do it? Could they really poke the bear during a lawsuit? Their lawyers say no, but fans, they're begging for it. Meanwhile, inside the courtroom, tensions are running high. Emails get leaked, witnesses get emotional. One former Disney executive even hints that South Park's portrayal wasn't totally wrong, throwing a grenade into the case. And as both sides make their final arguments, the world waits to see what will happen. Will South Park walk away victorious, free to mock whoever they want? Or will Rachel land a historic win, one that puts all of Hollywood on notice?